Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be taking you along on a typical Thursday in my life. I just finished work. I'm waiting for my kids' daycare to finish so I can pick them up and go home. I've been getting a lot of requests to show you how I pace myself on a Thursday after work, how I get everything done. So I figured today would be the perfect day to take you along and show you how I do everything. So come and join me. Now that I've picked up my kids, I'm heading home and it's going to be a fast-paced video. As you'll see, it's a lot that needs to happen in a short amount of time, and I just do my very best. Everybody gets out of the car, heads on home. I get all the kids a little bit comfortable with an activity that they would like, and I start right away with my preps. So as you see, the time now is 3:54 and I usually get home between 4 and 4:15. I forgot to feed my starter earlier in the day. I usually like to do that first thing in the morning, but because I forgot, I'm going to feed it right now and place it in my oven with just the light on, and that light is going to give us a lot of warmth and the starter hopefully is going to rise. This is a sourdough starter. Now that the starter is rising, I throw in a load of laundry. I really try my best to throw in one load of laundry into the wash each day. It just helps me manage my laundry with, so many people in the house. And on Thursdays, I do have cleaning help. I finally found a cleaning crew that comes and helps me tremendously, and they fold all of my laundry. So that's very, very helpful. At around 4:30, my daughter starts her homework. She gets home at around this time. My son follows her shortly after that. He gets home at around 5. And in the midst of all this insanity, the kids all get a small little snack. So they ask for some cheese, or sometimes they have a yogurt. So that's what they're going to be doing now. They just have a little snack just to tide them over until dinner time. For me personally, I can't start in my kitchen unless everything is put away and cleared out. So one of the things that I try to do my best is empty out my dishwasher, clean out my sink, and remove everything from the counters that don't need to be there. It just gives me an empty space just to do what I need to do. And because everything is so fast paced, I don't want to be bogged down with things that I have to wash or put away in the middle of everything. So I try to get all of that prepped and all of that done ahead of time so that the actual cooking prep goes by very quickly and smoothly. Now it's time for dinner. Usually between 5:30 and 5:45, I like to give the kids their dinner. And on Thursdays, I try to keep it very quick and simple. It's usually breakfast on Thursdays that I make. So here I have some farmer's cheese pancakes that I've made. And I really eyeballed the entire recipe, so I couldn't really tell you the exact measurements of everything. But it's quick, simple, full of protein, and the kids really do enjoy it. So I whip that up really quickly and give it to the kids and let them enjoy. Right after dinner at around 6:45, right before bedtime, we shower all of the kids. I do them in twos, meaning I do the boys all in one shot and then I do the girls all in one shot. I just find it's much more easier for me that way. I shower them, then he helps me dress them. So as you can see, it is nutty. It is very fast paced, but that's the only way really for me to survive. At around 7 and 7:30, my little ones have to go to bed. That's their bedtime. My older ones, we push their bedtime to 7:30 because they are 8.5 years old. Next year, hopefully in September, we'll push it to 8 o'clock. But for now, my little ones go to sleep at around 7. My older ones goes to sleep at 7:30, and once they're all put away and sleeping and they're comfortable, then I can start with just clearing off the kitchen table and getting myself ready to be cooking for Shabbat. My husband just got home from a very quick shopping run, so I'll just be putting all of those things away. It's just a few things that I needed for Shabbat. About 3.5 hours after I fed my starter, this is what it's looking like. It doubled in size, which is perfect, and it's ready for me to make the dough with it. If you guys are interested in how I make my sourdough starter, how I make my sourdough, I do have highlights up on my Instagram. I'm not really sure on YouTube who's interested, so I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's very, very detailed. And it just looks perfect. Look at all those bubbles. For those of you who don't know, sourdough is just basically a type of dough that is made with no yeast, no oil, no sugar. It's just flour and water and salt, and it just makes these delicious, delicious bread. After the sourdough is made, I let it rest for a little bit, do a few stretch and folds, and leave it to the side. And then I'm going to get started on cooking for Shabbat. Here I have some chicken thighs. I'm placing in some chicken powder from Costco, some salt, black pepper, some soy sauce over the top, and this new apricot chicken candy sauce that I found. I'm going to be placing that all around the chicken, giving everything a good rub. And the way that I do things on Thursdays is usually I prep everything that I can possibly prep, cover it up, and place them back into the fridge. But I actually bake everything on Friday after work. So here I'm just covering everything up and placing it into the refrigerator. My kids love salmon teriyaki, but I didn't have any salmon on hand, and I wanted to try the same method with this flounder. So I take these flounder fillets, give them a good wash, place them in the baking tray, and I do the exact same thing. I add in the teriyaki sauce and sprinkle in some sesame seeds over the top, and it did come out actually really nice, and the kids loved it as well. So the time now is around 8:15, as you see right here, and that's when I can really start to cook for Shabbat, because before then I was busy with the kids, busy with the house, and now I'm getting into the groove. So I just try to do multiple things at the same time. So I'm going to be making bahsh and osvo, so I know I'm going to need rice for both meals. So simultaneously I'm washing rice for both meals. I'm going to need 2 cups of rice for the bahsh, which is the green rice. And I'm also going to need 2 cups of rice for the osvo, which is the stew that we eat on Saturday for lunch. So I'm going to be just washing all of those and getting that ready into their designated spots. Both of those meals will require the same meat. So since I'm going to be washing meat for one of the meals, I'm just going to do it simultaneously for both of them. This is my way of basically killing 2 birds with 1 stone, as they say. I have both of the trays right next to me for the bahsh and for the osvo. Everything that has a bone, I'm just chucking it into the osvo pot, and all of the meat I'm going to be dicing up into little cubes to go into the bahsh. I placed in all about 2 handfuls of chopped meat. It also requires an onion. This onion is pretty large, so I'll use half an onion for each dish. I'm going to be dicing the onion up for the bahsh. And the other onion for the osvo, I'll be placing through a food processor, which I'll be showing you later on. Bahsh also needs a lot of cilantro. Here I have 3 bunches of cilantro that I have already washed. I'm going to be dicing them up really, really thin and placing them into the tray. I place in half a cup of oil and half a cup of water into the bahsh, a little bit of cumin, coriander, black pepper, a tablespoon of salt, and a tablespoon of the chicken consomme seasoning. And because osvo requires the salt and the consomme seasoning as well, I'm going to be putting those same seasonings into the osvo pot. I mix the bahsh really well, cover it up, and place it into the refrigerator, and I will bake that when I get home tomorrow from work. To finish the osvo, I have here the other half of the onion, 3 tomatoes, 1 carrot, and 1 green apple. But before I do that, I remembered about my sourdough, so I'm just going to be giving that a quick stretch and fold. Now back to the osvo, I food process everything that I just showed you. The green apples, carrots, tomatoes, and onions. Really takes less than a minute and the osvo is done. Right before placing it into the refrigerator, I add in a 1/4 cup of oil and 5 cups of water, mix everything well, and place it in the fridge until tomorrow. Now here is the flounder teriyaki that I'll be covering up as well and placing in the refrigerator. Here I'm making some banana muffins. I found this recipe from Tiffany Beaston from Beauty and the Beastons here on YouTube. She makes this recipe a lot and I wanted to give it a try. I have the exact recipe in the description box below. This recipe doesn't originally call for any nuts, but I enjoy them, so I'm just going to be crushing up a few nuts and placing them into the batter as well. I place them into a preheated oven set at 350 degrees and bake them between 20 and 30 minutes. In the meantime, the sourdough is looking amazing. Look at all those bubbles. I'm going to be dividing that dough into 3 separate sections because I want to make 3 separate breads out of them. and I'll show you how I do it. Now that they're all shaped, I place them in their bannetons and in their bowls, cover them up really well, and place them in the refrigerator to ferment overnight. Right before I head on to bed, I take out the banana nut muffins, and I am all done for Thursday night. It's good night, it's bedtime, and a few short hours later, we're up again in the morning, and at 7 a.m. I pack the little ones into the car and we head on over to daycare, and I head on over to work. While I'm on my lunch break, I look at my Shabbat list for my menu plan, and I just check off the things that I've already accomplished. For those of you who have been following me for a while, you know how much I love making lists to help myself be organized. So I just basically have salads to make and one more dessert if I have the time. So I just arrived at my house. I just parked the car. I'm about to head in. What I usually used to do when I got home is go straight into the kitchen, like most of us do, get everything done, scrambling, making the salads, making sure everyone is ready. And then 5 minutes before Shabbat, I realized that I still haven't showered, I haven't put on any makeup, and I look like a hot mess. So to avoid that, recently I've started to implement something else, and I think that it's a very, very good tip. As soon as I get home, I pop something into my oven, I put something onto my stovetop, so at least something is getting cooked. And I head into the shower, get myself ready, get myself dressed, put on some makeup so that I don't have that stress and anxiety at the very end of, Shabbat prep and being resentful that I'm not ready and everyone else is. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be heading on home. I'm going to place my osavo onto the stovetop, and I'm going to bake my chicken, my bahsh, and then my fish. And I will, in the meantime, while all that's cooking, I'm going to be getting myself ready. Ta-da! Now that I'm all set and ready, I can continue on with the rest of the Shabbat prep. I put on my apron so I don't get dirty, and I continue with everything that I need to do. I decided last minute that I wanted to have another side dish of just some roasted vegetables. So I'm just here peeling up some onions, some carrots, and potatoes. I'm going to be dicing everything up and placing it on a cookie tray and baking that as a side dish. I just remembered at this point that I have fish in the oven and I wanted to take it out so it doesn't get overcooked. And in the meantime, I'm just going to be basting some of the chicken juices over the chicken and mixing up the bahsh and placing the chicken uncovered back into the oven for an additional 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to mix the bahsh, cover it back up, and place it back into the oven for an additional 45 minutes until it's cooked completely. This is basically the size of all of the vegetables that I've cut up. I add in a little bit of oil and some seasoning. All you really need in this roasted potato recipe is just some salt, black pepper, and oil, but I enjoy it with some other seasonings like cumin, coriander, oregano, cilantro, garlic powder. I basically give that all a very good mix, align everything in a single layer, and place it into the oven at 450 degrees until everything is nice and crispy. Right before Shabbat starts, I do like to empty out my sink and turn on my dishwasher. This way, everything is cleaned right before Shabbat starts and my dishwasher is not full of dirty things. And I just always try to remember to do that because trust me, there have been times when Shabbat started and I realized that my dishwasher is full of dirty dishes. Now that all the meals are cooking on the stove or in the oven, I am ready to start making all of the salads. I'm keeping it very quick and simple. Here I'm making the corn and the bean salad. I just added in a little bit of minced garlic into each bowl, and here I'm just cutting up some red peppers that'll be going into the corn salad. Both salads get a little bit of dill and some salt. I place in a squeeze of lemon juice into the corn salad with about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. I give everything a mix and that salad is done. To finish off the bean salad, I add in about 2 tablespoons of mayo, give that a mix, and that is done as well. To make the tuna salad, I take 1 can of tuna, place it into a bowl. I add in 2 hard-boiled eggs and 2 small sticks of celery that I dice up, and I mix everything with a little bit of mayo, and that's done. The last salad that I'll be making is this purple and white cabbage salad. I use my mandolin slicer, slice the purple and white cabbage very thinly, and then I add in the blade and I slice in the carrots into very, very thin matchsticks. To dress the salad, I add in some dill, lemon juice, avocado oil, and some salt and sugar. After about 20-25 minutes, the potatoes are ready to be flipped. I flip them all over and place them back into the oven to crispen on the other side. At this point, the bahsh and the chicken are fully cooked. I'm just fluffing up the bahsh so that the rice becomes nice and fluffy. If you've watched my most recent video on my perfect chocolate cake, I had a little bit of the chocolate cake left over because I sliced the tops off because they were a little bit uneven, and I froze that cake. So in order to use it up, I decided to make a s'more cake. I'm using equal parts of chocolate and whipping cream here that I placed into the microwave for about 30 seconds and mixed everything until it's nice and silky. And I'll show you how I put together this s'more cake. I used this whipping cream. I whipped it really well until it holds stiff peaks, and these are the only ingredients that you will be needing to assemble this amazingly gorgeous cake. Here is the Ziploc bag full of the chocolate cake bits that I had left over. I'll be taking them out, and using a cookie cutter, I'll be cutting them into circular shapes. And if they don't cut perfectly into circular shapes, don't worry, just stuff the actual cake into that cookie round and mush it together and it'll be just fine. Once you have a nice perfect circular shape, place it on the plate that you will be serving your cake at, and continue making a total of 6 rounds because each cake is going to have 2 layers. I top off each round with a good dollop of the cream and add in another second layer of the cake circle. I then top off the cakes with some mini chocolate chips, some graham crackers that have been crushed, and mini marshmallows. I use this torch that I got from Amazon to caramelize the marshmallows to get them nice and toasty. If you don't have it, you definitely can skip this step, but I just had it already at home and I love the way that it turns out. I placed the chocolate ganache that I made earlier into a Ziploc bag. I snipped the little edge of it and I piped that all over the s'more cake just to make it look even more gorgeous. I love how this cake turned out, and really it took no time at all because I used what I already had in the house and in the freezer. Now that the potatoes are fully cooked, I just sprinkle on a good amount of garlic and dill, and they just look very beautiful. This is how pretty the sourdough bread came out. I didn't have a chance to actually film the process of me scoring the bread because I was running out of time, but I just wanted to show you how it looks like. Right before Shabbat also, my husband does help me set up this hot warming plate. This is what we use to heat up all of our food for Saturday. So he just sets everything up for me and I place everything onto it that needs to be warmed up for Saturday. And that is it for my Shabbat prep. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Shabbat Shalom from my family to yours.